What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video, we are talking and updating on Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia. So, we've had this before. We talked about the whole unconstitutional, illegal deportation of him to El Salvador. He was sent to CCOT at first. The Trump administration acted like they could not do anything to facilitate him back, even though judges were trying to push and force them to do so. They were pushing back, acting like they couldn't. There was nothing that they could do. Then you had the senator go down there to visit with him. At that point, mysteriously, the El Salvador, government and whatnot had moved him from CCOT to another facility that was a little bit more, I guess, let's say easy on the eyes or easy on perception, or as far as like how horrible it would be or whatever. Like it was more of a calmer prison in El Salvador, I guess you could say. Or at least supposedly that's where he was. But he got to talk to him, but nevertheless, the regime kept saying that they could not do anything to bring him back, and that he was, tough luck. It wasn't going to happen. Well, suddenly, out of nowhere, you wind up with the administration suddenly, actually, yeah, under pressure and stuff. Well, yeah, we actually are going to bring him back, but we're bringing him back and charging him with, he's coming back under charges, indictments. And so it's going to be litigated out. He's going to be found to be this horrible person that we've said he was from the beginning. And then he's going to just be then put in prison or sent back out where he needs to be going. So, you get what you asked for. That kind of like, all you lefties have been asking for this. So here you are. We're uncovering and releasing all this information, and we're bringing charges against him. You said you wanted due process. Here you go. We're going to bring you due process. You could have just let him rot in a CCOT, but instead we're going to actually come in and court this up and waste taxpayer money, even though you already wasted taxpayer money sending him to CCOT to begin with. So we have now he came back, was brought back. I think it was it this past Monday? Maybe, I think it was. And he has been brought up on federal human smuggling charges in Tennessee from a traffic stop back in 2022, where nothing happened. He wasn't arrested. There were no charges brought against him then. It was just questioning on him driving fellow workers under what he said. They were working in like Texas, if I'm not mistaken, and they were driving back all together in a vehicle, and it was full. It was quite a few of them in there, but there was nothing brought against him at that time. But yet all of a sudden now, under all of this pressure and the idea that the administration wants to, try to back up all of their allegations against him and their hatred towards him and all the shit that they've said about him, although there was no proof of any of it. They have now concocted up all this evidence that, They have been investigating him since 2016 and have all this data that of him smuggling thousands of immigrants. Some of which they claim are even gang related. Particularly MS-13, because they try to tie him to MS-13. And that he even was involved in some murders and abuse of, people and also illegal immigrants themselves. All these things. So now we have currently a hearing is set for June 13th. That's in 2 days. That will address detention, bond, discovery, disputes, and these state secret privileges, whether state secret privileges applies, which is all the things that there's like internal documents and stuff that are heavily redacted, and the government's has been trying to withhold up until this point, and now suddenly they're releasing it, and it's like, okay, if you've had all this information, and if you've had all this information on him, why not from the beginning go ahead and put him through that due process that we said he should have been through to begin with? Because that's been the whole argument. If this guy is so damn bad that you say he is, and you've got all this fucking evidence, then if you put him through the due process and he is found guilty amongst his peers, then I don't think anybody would have a problem with him being brought to justice, whether in our justice system or deported to his nation, his nationality, which was El Salvador, where he is actually from, and them litigating that or bringing justice to him there. If you actually took him through the process, and that's what we've been arguing for all of this, and if you had this information all along, then why put up such a fucking fight to not do that? To not do what everybody has been given right to in our Constitution, which is due process. And it just seems awful convenient that now, under political pressure, suddenly, when previously they could not facilitate this, there was no way they could get him back, although technically they already did that for somebody else. Wink, wink. Now we can suddenly bring him back. Oh yeah, we can bring him back, and we're going to do your due process, and we've got all these charges that we've done trumped up, and he's gonna, it's gonna go the same way. So you just did all this for no fucking reason when you could have just left them there. That's what they're going to try to say. That's what they're already trying to say. So we have that going on in 2 days. So they will be figuring this out. And, this has become much bigger than just an immigration issue, though. This has become a case around congressional rights, constitutional rights, my bad, around like government power and who, and the coalescing of that power, which is what the Trump regime has been trying to do. Trying to wield that power uh, without the need of the other branches, which is the way it's supposed to work. This is, and then also about, supposed state secrets, holding information and not uncovering it until for what? For political, this has become a political issue other than what, it could have simply just been to begin with, is just an immigration thing that could have been played out properly through the proper processes and litigated properly, and it wouldn't even have been a big deal. But now you've created, under all of this, you've created this major, like, stigma in around this whole issue, around everything you've done. You've made your bed. You could have did this if doing the proper way, which is like, just basic for any administration to do, any government to do, whether it is, executive, judicial, legislative, for you to do things through the proper processes so that everything works properly and there's no argument for things being done right or not. But instead, you have went through this whole thing, made a spectacle of it, trying to push your powers, or your supposed powers, your, perceived powers, to negate the, like, importance of the other branches. And for what? You could have just did this properly to begin with. Now, what do I think about the actual charges? As I said, I think they're trumped up. And I mean that with all sincerity. I think they have worked some shit up. Have maybe even potentially, like, took bunches of cases from different people and put them all together and made it look like it was him. This could be a solid case against somebody completely else, but they just put his face on it and going to have him take the fall for it, just so that they can save face and, claim their narrative was right all along. But I don't know. But we have the hearing in 2 days for them to distinguish, what can be, taken to trial and whatnot, his bond and whatnot, all that good stuff. Well, I'll clearly have a trial and have everything placed out there. Let the government defense prosecutors lay all the evidence out there that they claim that they have. Proof that he is who they say he is. And then if that comes to be legitimate, if it comes to look like it is actually true and real, and he is, brought a decision is made, and he is, wrongful of all the charges, then so be it. There's nothing we could do. At least he went through the process, whether you even at that point still agree that it's honest or true or not. He went through the process, and there's nothing we do. But at the very least, that happened. But if it comes out that that even all these charges are bullshit, this opens up and busts everything else wide ass open for everybody else who's been sent illegally and unconstitutionally. This will ultimately could make or break this administration, this regime, honestly. And it's, crazy. Like I said, crazy enough. It shouldn't even have been the thing that actually broke them. But this could weirdly enough be the one thing that actually breaks them. and could affect the actual like public perception, you know, of everything that they're doing. So yeah, you say that we're getting what we asked for. Well, you might be getting what you asked for too. Let me know in the comments what you think, and of all of this, you know, whether you think he's guilty or not, or whether you think, you know, about the charges. What do you think about the whole aspect of them acting like they couldn't, you know, bring him back to begin with? Whatever the, you know, let me know what you think. And until next time, Clear Talk. Peace. I'm out.